Happy Friday, folks, and welcome back to the random video blog where every single Friday right here on the show, I, Graham G.S. Matthews, give my rambling thoughts on the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And as promised last week, today's random video blog is counting down 5 things that you should and should not be watching on the WWE Network. We're wasting no time here, getting into number 1. One show you should be watching on the network, NXT. One of the big reasons why I wanted to subscribe to the network from day one back in February 2014 was because of NXT. Because prior to that point, the only way to watch it was through like international websites and all this sketchy ass shit, and on Hulu Plus too, I guess. But you had to pay for that. It was a pain in the ass. I wasn't going to pay for Hulu Plus just for NXT. And with the network, you got the old pay-per-views, the new pay-per-views, all that other shit. So when they finally announced the network and that NXT would be a part of it, I was super excited. You had a rival that same week. But yeah, NXT has been a staple show on the network ever since, to the point where, I mean, there's been talk about putting it on network television, on NXT, and on USA Network, rather, and putting NXT on the USA Network. I don't even really want to see that happen, because on the network, you can just skip through the commercials, which are 30 seconds, a minute long. The show's only 45 minutes to an hour long every single week. It's the perfect formula, and you're not being weighed down by, officials and network executive decisions and shit like that. It's a really simple show with a great feel to it, awesome commentary, awesome in-ring action. It's just a formula that works for NXT. And ever since that point, since its inception on the WWE Network over 3 years ago, it's been a must-watch, must-see program. For a lot of people, I know they've either fallen out of it or they haven't, they don't really watch it on a regular basis. But I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people who aren't watching NXT, but you should be. I know they went through a bit of a lull, like late last year, early this year, but NXT, ever since, in my opinion, TakeOver Orlando a few months back, it's been pretty damn good. With Mauro Ranallo back on commentary in NXT, you got Bobby Roode as champion, Drew Galloway coming in, Aleister Black, all these other new surplus of great talent from other promotions and other awesome new up-and-comers. NXT is just such a blast to watch. So again, if you're not already watching the show, be sure to do so every Wednesday night on the network. But that's not to say every original in-ring, program on the network is must-watch. It's must-see. It's must check out every single week. That's not necessarily the case. I know with the network, and the cool thing about the network is it allows the WWE to do more original programming in-ring-wise from an in-ring standpoint. But more isn't always better. I mean, we already have 3-hour Raws, 2-hour SmackDowns, and now hour NXTs. 205 Live is a show that I'm not going to say you should not be watching, but it's not a necessary viewing. I know a lot of people, all of my close wrestling friends, checked it out when it first debuted many months ago, about 6, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, in late November. And it was good for a while, but like by January, February, it became just another hour of Raw. Just another standard, nothing exciting about it hour of Raw. And people haven't watched it since, and I still watch it to review it, and it's alright. It's nothing must-see, though. Occasionally has its fair share of decent matches, but it's nothing quite like what the CWC was, what the Cruiserweight Classic was last summer, which was must-see, and I do suggest checking that out on the network. But 205 Live, if you're not already watching it, you probably don't have to. Anything you're missing, I can fill you out on in my reviews on xtherewrestling.net G-Plug, but the show itself is not what people envisioned when WWE promised the Cruiserweight show about this time a year ago. A show you should be watching, though, another original program airing every single week on the network, is Talking Smack. And again, it's not wrestling, and usually I only tune into the wrestling shows and whatnot, but Talking Smack is awesome. Talking Smack is so much fun. And the thing about Talking Smack is that it not only fills you in about what happened that week on SmackDown if you didn't tune in or only caught highlights, and not only previews what's happening the next week, but they have entertaining commentary from guys like Kevin Owens, when The Miz used to be on there, when Alexa Bliss used to be on there. Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack is fucking money. The guy is so goddamn great on that show because he just doesn't care. He'll talk about belts, he'll talk about the Paige and Xavier Woods videos that are out there, he'll talk about literally anything. The guy is unsanctioned, he's unhinged, he is just uncensored on Talking Smack, and it's so much damn fun to watch him and Shane, and him and Renee Young specifically, have that awesome chemistry together. But yeah, Talking Smack's a lot of fun. I did not watch it initially when it first debuted in July of last year, right after the brand split happened, But right after the Miz promo took place, I started watching it every week, and it's become a must-see show for me every single week on the network. The most recent episode, not the latest one, but a few weeks back with Kevin Owens on it and the Usos and Carmella. It was the last episode in the month of June. It was awesome. It's definitely must-see and worth checking out. But yeah, Talking Smack coming up on a one-year anniversary on the network has been a lot of fun to watch week to week, and I strongly recommend you do so as well. A show that, that really isn't as important or really isn't as exciting, that being Bring It to the Table. Now, I've talked about Bring It to the Table on WWE Network and Chill. I talked about it this past week on the show, just because, or rather, yeah, it was this past week. Or no, it aired this past week, rather. But yeah, there's nothing really about Bring It to the Table that, a lot like 205 Live, isn't what WWE promised. It's controversial from time to time, just because they bring shit up that people don't agree with. But beyond that, it's not like all that exciting. And JBL's an asshole. I mean, some of the points that he makes are good, and I'll talk about the show, and it has its moments and whatnot, and I'll watch the show, and some parts are all right. I like Corey Graves. I like Peter Rosenberg. JBL does nothing for me. But JBL, I don't know, just the entire show is just another outlet for them to bitch about how the fans complain a lot. Essentially is what it is, more often than not. So again, of all the original programming I talk about on WWE Network and Chill, Bring It to the Table is not one show that you should be, definitely putting time aside every time it airs, every once a month or so. And finally, the show that you should be watching, one final show you should be watching on the network, is Table for Three. Now, I talk about Table for Three quite a bit on WWE Network and Chill. We had the Divas Champions Club a couple weeks ago. We have another episode coming up, I think 2 back-to-back on the 24th and 31st, respectively. I forgot who was in them, though. It's going to bother the hell out of me. But there are 2 really, really good episodes. I think Kurt Angle's a part of one. I might be wrong on that. But there's a lot of cool talent involved. Legends, current talent of tomorrow. So definitely check those. The ones like the announcers. One I know is like Lita, Corey Graves, and Renee Young. I forgot what the other one was. I know I saw like a preview for it on a WWE YouTube video where they previewed what's coming up on the network this month, in the month of July. So check those out. But yeah, Table for Three, a very relaxing, not really newsworthy, but a very enjoyable 20-30 minute show. And I know they cut it short, like a lot of people were upset. They cut short the Cornette, Vince Russo, Michael P.S. Hayes episode from a few months ago. But for what it is, it's a lot of fun to watch. And all 3 guys or 3 women or whoever, they have a lot of great chemistry. They share stories. They're in their comfort zone. It's a lot of fun to watch. So of all the original programming on the network that's airing, recently, that's aired, airing currently, that's one that you certainly should put some time aside to watch every week whenever it airs on the network. So that does it, guys. Once again, the 5 stuff you should and should not be watching on the network. Should NXT, should not 205 Live, should Talking Smack, should not Bring It to the Table, and should Table for Three. The other Table for Three, should not be watching Bring It to the Table. So don't mix up those tables, because one show is really, really good. The other one, not so much. So anyway, guys, that is my latest random video blog. Would love to know what you guys are watching on the WWE Network in the comment section down below. Tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant on Facebook as well, at facebook.com/Graham.Matthews. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. So that being said, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. What we're talking about on the random video blog next week, I have no idea. Just stay tuned and find out at the same time that I do. And until then, guys, be well, and I'll catch your ass down the road.